All right, and we are live. Perhaps. Yeah, there we are. Hey, welcome everyone. I will get right to it right away, even if no one's here, because who wants all the nonsense at the beginning? But first, flame on. Let's get the show started. And, oops. To do that, we need our little intro. Hey, thanks for joining me today. It is Tuesday, January 17th. Got a great show for you today. Hopefully better than yesterday. That's what I'm trying to do every day. Get a little bit better. Perhaps. Still learning about this streaming stuff. Wish there were someone I could ask, but it is what it is. But today's stories, and I think you'll find them interesting. We're going to talk about Google giving up your search results even if you haven't done anything. That's a big deal. Iran and Russia have come together to make a stablecoin, a cryptocurrency. Back in my hometown of Albuquerque, New Mexico, a Republican politician was arrested for targeting, pew pew, Democrats. 90s cars are apparently back. Hashtag not all, just the cool ones. And lastly, are we going to see flying taxis next year? We could. So let's get into it. And remember, I do want to thank everyone that hits that like button. I am trying, oh, there we go. I'm trying to get 25 likes today. That's the goal. You can help me. Hit that little button with the thumbs up. And the show costs nothing. I make nothing off the show. So that'd be a nice thing if you could do it. I appreciate it. All right, let's get to the first story. Google searches. Keyword search warrants questioned by Colorado lawyers. So, defense lawyers have filed a motion to challenge the constitutionality of a technique used by law enforcement officials in Colorado to track down suspects in an arson case where 5 people were killed. The technique, known as reverse keyword search warrant, is being challenged for the first time in court. In this case, police served a warrant to Google for anyone who had searched for the address of the fire with the aim of identifying suspects. Google complied with the data request, and three teenagers were charged with murder. Defense lawyers argue that this technique is a digital dragnet of immense proportions, and that it operates in reverse. Search everyone first and identify suspects later. Yeah, anything you do online is known. And Google has no problem turning over whatever to the government. And if you think that Google and the government are different, you can keep believing that if you wish. But that would be hard to explain, right? If you just happen to Google an address and all of a sudden you were now a suspect in a murder investigation. They come to your house. Hey, why did you Google that? You shouldn't have to explain why you Googled an address of something, you know, for whatever reason. But if you don't tell them, you might have done something wrong, right? It's that old argument of, well, if you got nothing to hide. That's pretty much what happens with Google searches. And you may think, oh, I use a VPN. So therefore, no, that doesn't matter. A VPN hides your IP address, but if you're logged into Google, on your VPN, they still have all your Google results. And yeah, so that wouldn't even work. What is the best method for just doing innocent searches? I don't know. I don't know what the best thing is. And it's interesting. In the past, I would recommend DuckDuckGo. I can't remember specifically what it was, but their CEO came out and seemed to be very, very pro censorship. And I can't remember the specific thing, but it was so egregious that I had to delete my DuckDuckGo bookmark, you know. So I don't know good alternatives to Google. They're just so good. But this is one of the things. It will be interesting to find out what the courts decide on this. Should the police be able to just pull in Google results to find suspects? We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. And let's get to the next story. I've got to remember, I've got to be on the wide before I hit the transition. I'm just going to have to start remembering that. Let's try it again. No, we don't need to try it again. We'll just get to the story. Iran and Russia are reportedly working together to create a new cryptocurrency that'd be backed by gold and serve as a payment method in foreign trade. The proposed stablecoin would be used for cross-border transactions instead of fiat currencies and would operate in a special economic zone in Astrakhan, where Russia is already accepting Iranian cargo shipments. The project is dependent on the digital asset market being fully regulated in Russia, which is expected to happen this year. Iran and Russia have previously banned their residents from using cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but recent trade sanctions have led them to explore the use of crypto in international trade. And so what is a stablecoin? That is a type of cryptocurrency whose value is pegged to another asset, such as a fiat currency or to gold to stabilize the price. In this case, it's going to be pegged to the price of gold in Russia. And so that is the stablecoin. To be able to go outside of using US dollars to trade is now becoming more and more important for many of these countries that have sanctions on them. Now, in this case, it is beyond, I cannot understand why the current administration is pushing these countries to not use the US dollar as the reserve currency, because the US reserve currency is what's propping up all of our debt, right? That's what's supporting the house of cards that is the US economic system, is our reserve currency. And pushing Russia, pushing Iran, pushing China to not use the US dollar for trading and to come up with alternatives only goes to hurt our own economy. So that was one of the biggest bizarre things I think that happened, was when Biden, at the beginning of the Ukraine-Russian conflict, pushed Russia to not use the US dollar as a reserve currency. Bizarre. Bizarre, truly bizarre. I don't know what they're thinking, and I can't read minds, but this is interesting, this new coin that they may use for trading in Russia and Iran. Let's go. Now, there's a politician arrested, former Republican candidate, for shooting, targeting his Democratic politicians' opponents' houses. The Albuquerque police arrested a man named Solomon Pena on Monday, who they believe is the mastermind behind a recent string of shootings targeting the homes of Democratic lawmakers. Pena is a Republican who unsuccessfully ran for office in November 2020 and has made repeated claims that the election was rigged. He also appears to have attended the January 6, 2021 riot in Washington, D.C. He's accused of hiring 4 men to shoot at homes of 2 county commissioners and 2 state legislators. And investigators also believe Pena was present at least one of the shootings. Police used Police used shot spotter technology to make the arrests. Both Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham and House Republican leader Ryan Lane issued statements condemning the violence. It's pretty easy to condemn shooting at people's houses. That's not a big thing. This shot spotter technology is interesting. I don't know. Do you have that in your city yet? They've been talking about putting it in Portland. We currently, I do not think, have it, but they've been talking about putting it in certain neighborhoods where there are shootings. And the technology is up on a pole, and it is able to detect gunshots to alert the police right away. And I think they can triangulate where the shooting took place using this technology. So that's what they used, at least partly used, to catch this guy, politician, shooting up his opponents' homes. It's shocking that this doesn't happen more than it does. This is a really unusual circumstance, but it seems like it might happen more and more. Yeah, we'll have to see about that. Now let's talk about cars, 90s cars. Cars from the 90s have been sought after collectibles with rising values in the car collecting world. Now, this car collecting market, values of the 1990s era collectible cars have risen by an average of 78% over the past 3 years. This is due to a few factors, one being that the passage of time has caused depreciation to run its course. As the cars are getting older, some of the people who were teenagers or were in their early 20s when these models first came out now have the disposable income to buy the cars they wanted when they were kids. Another factor is that the end of the 20th century and the beginning of the 21st century marked a turning point in automobiles where automakers figured out how to make small cars that met fuel economy requirements, but that could also be fun to drive. Additionally, cars from the 90s still have a somewhat raw mechanical feel, as it's often lost in modern cars, replete with computer-assisted and drive-by-wire technology, which makes them more desirable for collectibles. Is there a car from the 90s that you really want? Because perhaps it has gone up in price. I had a car from the 90s, and it was one of these things that it was worth way more than what the Blue Book value was. I had a 98, I think, Jetta diesel. And diesel Jettas are very sought after. They would get over 40 miles to the gallon. People love them. They're really fun to drive. I was in a car wreck. Someone hit me, and it was totaled. And the insurance company, surprise, surprise, would not replace it. They wanted to give me the Blue Book on it. But it turned out that much like these cars that we're talking about now, the price for them is so much higher than what you think it would be. And so that was a long fight for me. But it would be interesting to know, are there cars from the 90s that you are longing for? Because I'd like to hear I'd like to hear what they are. I can't think of any 90s cars that are really pulling me. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know about that. And lastly, flying cars. That's right. The European Union Aviation Safety Agency has said that Europe could see its first flying taxis enter service as early as next year. More than half a dozen European firms have announced developments of urban air mobility vehicles for passenger use or for unmanned cargo sorties, such as delivering medical supplies. It's already started the process of certifying some of the designs and expects first approvals for the lightweight machines around next year. It's focusing on projects involving piloted vehicles for passengers and unpiloted drones for cargo delivery. Fully autonomous vehicles are still some years away. So I think it would be fun. I would love if I could skip the freeway and just fly downtown or fly to the bar and then fly back. That would be awesome. I don't think it's going to be for me. I think it's going to be for people with a lot more money. There's no way that everyone can have a flying car or can take flying taxis, because that would be insane in the sky. I don't know how that would even be done. It would be crazy. I can't imagine it. But there are many of these, you got to say, well, where's the money? And the money is going into these projects. And I can see them replacing helicopters, sure. But is it going to be to the place where we can all just hop in a flying car, to go to the airport or whatever? I don't know. I think that's probably a few years past when they say this is going to start, which is next year. And that's that. That's what I want to hear is your comments. How'd the video go today? Is it a little bit better? I don't know. I do appreciate your comments, and I will check them out after the outro. So here it is. Cheers. And I'll see you tomorrow. Noon on the West Coast, 3 o'clock on the East Coast. Have an awesome day. Peace. Okay. Hey, it's Apothecary John. Oh. There we go. I'm back. Apothecary John, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Swaggy the Great, hello. Swaggy the Great says, I don't know if they have it in Chicago where I'm at, but I'd definitely be useful. Hopefully we don't see political assassinations make a comeback. I don't want to see that either. I'm just surprised that it hasn't. And Swaggy's favorite car is the Honda CRX. I had one of those, the CRX SI. They called it the Pocket Rocket, I think. Actually, I drove cross country in one of those. It was a lot of fun. Acura and Integra, Toyota Supra. And Justin encourages me, says I'm doing great, champ. I appreciate that, Justin. So thank you all. Thank you for hitting the like button. We're at 5 likes now, which is pretty good because I think we got 6 views so far. But anyway, have an awesome day. I will see you all mañana. Peace.